Can Tennessee pull off the upset at Ohio State? Is Ohio State going to cash in on the $20 million that it spent on this roster? And no, that does not mean just beating Tennessee. That means so much more. We got to talk about that. Get into some predictions as well. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell and like this video so you don't miss any of the segments that we upload when we do predictions, we do reactions, we talk about the news as it is coming, because college football is what I do, is what I love, and that's what this show is doing 24/7, 365. We got Tennessee at Ohio State, and that means that Ohio State gets to try to leave its season with a win at Ohio Stadium after losing to Michigan 13-10 and really tanking their season as far as many Ohio State fans are concerned. But I believe that there is one consolation prize that they will readily accept, and that would be their first national championship since 2014. I'm going to tell you right now, though, when you have an athletic director who says out loud in the summertime that you spent $20 million on your roster, it's going to be the thing that people bring up all the time. Never mind that Oregon might have spent more. I mean, their NIL valuation is worth about $23 million. Never mind that Florida State spent at least 10 to 12 on its roster, and it was one of the worst college football teams in America. Ole Miss spent around 10 on its roster, didn't even make the college football playoff. And who knows how much is being spent everywhere else among these programs, like, say, Texas, which I think, you got an NIL collective that raised 13.3, might have got 10 in other ways, so that's another $24 million. Now we're looking at $20.5 million being what it's going to cost you to put together a national championship caliber roster. We know this because that's going to be the agreed upon salary cap for spending on all athletics, by the way, not just football. But we do expect a lot of this to go to football and men's basketball because those are the two biggest revenue generating sports, to say nothing of how Title IX is going to work. But I'm bringing up the $20 million because it's going to come up. It's going to come up over and over and over again, because right now Ohio State is in danger of doing the least with the most, okay? You got a grad transfer in Will Howard. You've got who's won a Big 12 championship, right, and beat an undefeated Texas Christian team that played for the national championship. You've got one of the best tailbacks of his generation coming out of the SEC in Quinshon Judkins, one of the best tailbacks of his generation in the Big 10 in Travion Henderson, is a home run hitter. And you've got a supreme talent advantage at wide receiver in the trio that is Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and Carnell Tate. I don't care so much anymore about what the offensive line is doing, because the offensive line has done its job. It's whether or not Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, renowned play callers, are going to do what you need to, which is throw the damn ball to Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and Carnell Tate. You're going to have that obvious advantage against everybody you play. That was the one thing that was really getting under my skin, and many others, as you're watching Ohio State piss away opportunities to score on a Michigan team that was good up the middle and nowhere else. But yet Ohio State kept running straight up the middle to where they got a first-team All-American in Mason Graham, to where they've got probably a first-round draft pick in Kenneth Grant, to where they've got what I think is a first-round draft pick in Josiah Stewart. No, man, there's no Will Johnson out there. Fours over there. You've got perhaps the best wide receiver of his entire generation out there as a freshman. Throw him the ball. That's what it's going to have to be in this. Now, that said, Tennessee ain't no slouches defensively, right? Tim Banks is a Broyles Award finalist. They're one of the best teams in the country at getting into the backfield and putting you on the ground. As I'm looking up the stats for them, I was getting kind of impressed with what Tennessee's not getting talked about. They have 93 tackles for loss, which is ridiculous. They're ranked 9th in that metric. And they got a bunch of games where they have fewer rushers of 20 plus. Yes, they got the fewest rushes of 20 yards or less in the entire country, meaning Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson might have a hard time moving the football if you just want to run it, which means you're going to have to challenge that secondary. You're just going to have to. And you're going to have to ask Will Howard to make it up as he goes along from time to time. But that's something you can do. And you can do that because you have the benefit of also having a really great defense. It's a defense that when it is playing its best football, it looks like it did against Indiana, where you got 8 pressures to Curtis Rourke and you got 5 sacks. You know, when that defense is, Jack Sawyer gave you a gift. He had an interception at the goal line that you couldn't do anything with. Cody Simon has been playing, I think, great football. Caleb Downs is the best defensive back in football for me, right? I genuinely believe that. I think Denzel Burke is your problem. He's your weakest link. He's the dude that everybody's going to be pointing out, going, Brew McCoy, line up on him. Dante Thornton, line up on him. We want to work him. And if you got to put Caleb Downs over the top of that, and you can't allow Latham Ransom to come down and make tackles because he's pretty good at forcing fumbles, then you have a wide open box for, say, Dylan Thompson. Damn it, Dylan, what is your last name? I'm already blanking on this game. It's this dude. Man, I've had it all year. He's the SEC's leading tailback. Give me a second. It happens every now and again. I get a brain fart. Sampson. Lord, thank you. My goodness. Dylan Sampson, 123.8 yards per game, and the SEC's leading tailback, probably the SEC's best tailback, and would have been a Doak Walker Award winner if this dude, Ashton Jeanty, didn't run for 2,497 yards for 29 TDs. But now we're talking about a dude that's got, just ho-hum, damn near 1,500 yards, 22 TDs on the ground. I can't believe I was blanking on your name, Dylan. That's on me. My fault. Rose from Concrete was in my head, dog. It's right here. It's not. I have been absolutely gassing this dude up all year long. And the one time I need to cash in on his name for a prediction segment, here I go, needing to go to like the old man, putting my spectacles on, talk about Sampson. My fault. I think Nico Iamaleava is also going to really have a really hard time in this game. Like, you need Dylan Sampson to do what he does. You need to run the football well. Because, we were having this conversation in our college football writers meeting, and my buddy Mike, he's like, I don't think that Nico Iamaleava has ever played in weather that's going to be as cold as it's going to be on Saturday in Columbus. And I was like, you know what, Mike? You got a point. By the way, Michael Cohen covers the Big Ten men's basketball and football for Fox. Really great reporter. You should read his work. He does outstanding work. But that was really great because I was like, you know what? That would also be true of a lot of them dudes, like Julian Sand, who's from Carlsbad, right? Will Howard's like, I'm from Pennsylvania. I know what this is like. I don't know that you know what this is like in December, though. Because don't nobody play no football at Ohio Stadium in December. And it might be 20 degrees on Saturday. And it might be nasty and windy. And that's just, my God. That's going to be a running, it feels like it's going to be a running team for Tennessee no matter what. But you have to throw the football if you're Ohio State. You just do, because that's where your weapons are. So whatever they've been doing in preparation at the Woody to try to get ready for this, that's where you're going to have to go with this ball. Now, would you love to be able to run the football? Yes, everybody wants to be able to run the football. It's called football. We want to play in the trenches. But when you've got the kind of advantage they have on the outside, you have to push the perimeter. And if you don't push the perimeter, you risk losing the way that you lost to Michigan. Now, that said, we also got a Will Howard to play the worst game of his entire life, I think, against that Michigan team. I don't think that's going to happen again. But these are two teams that are actually pretty close together. I mean, 36 points a game, 35.5 for Ohio State, 37.3 for the Tennessee Volunteers. Again, they play teams like Chattanooga and whatnot, and then they get in the SEC. 463 yards of offense for Tennessee on the regular, 423 for Ohio State. Like I said, it's really about the defenses, the scoring defenses, that I think is going to be the really cool match to watch here. Because both of these are top 10 scoring defenses, but Ohio State's number 3, where Tennessee's number 8. And I think it's more about what Ohio State's been able to do when their back is against the wall. That has been one of the most difficult teams to score TDs on, because they bow up like no other team in the sport on 4th and goal, 3rd and goal, 2nd and goal. When you got them in goal, it's not guaranteed you're going to go stick that into the end zone. That's just not how that's going to go. They've been really great about that. And Jim Knowles running that 4-2-5 that's been bend, don't break also gets back to, no, we will break you at this goal line. And I'm really excited to see how that goes when you got Dylan Sampson back there ready to run some run power back for you. I'm also kind of interested to find out if Josh Heupel has cooked up something a little bit nasty, a little bit mean for Jim Knowles. Because one of the things that I do like about Josh Heupel is we thought about him the way that we thought about Ryan Day before Ryan Day gave over play calling privileges, you're pretty damn good at being inventive on how to get the ball out to your playmakers. But when your playmakers are your running back and you got a quarterback that's still figuring out what to do with it, you're running a lot of match protect. So when they have been throwing the ball down the field, I've never seen, that's too much. I see too often 2 and 3 receiver routes. A lot of two receiver routes. A lot of match protect. A lot of we're going to bring guys in so that we can give Nico as clean a picture as we possibly can. And if it ain't there, we trust him to either get rid of the ball or take off and run with it. I think against Ohio State, you're going to have to send a couple more guys out into patterns. I think you're going to have to try to get Denzel Burke in one-on-ones. I think you're going to have to challenge Jordan Hancock. I think you're going to have to try to make sure that Caleb Downs is playing center field less often and more shading to one side of the field so you don't throw to that side, because I think that dude can just make you wrong. And then on the special teams, it feels like Ohio State ought to have an advantage at punt return, but, kicker, I don't know what y'all going to have to do, but y'all need to go find y'all a kicker, because that's basically 3 kicks. Like, if Ohio State makes their kicks, they beat Michigan. But if they make the kick against Georgia, they beat Georgia and they play for the national championship, and we're having a totally different conversation around Ohio State and Ryan Day. But as it is, the question is, can you cash in on this $20 million roster? And that means playing in the national championship game and winning it. Anything less is not going to be greeted with anything other than dismay and a piss poor attitude by Buckeye fans, edging toward, hey, is this just going to be what life is for us? And I'm telling you, nah, they're going to make some changes if it comes to that.